Greetings all. Welcome to the second channel. You might want to hit subscribe to this channel because I feel like over the next couple of weeks and potentially months, like there's going to be so much stuff happening that there's no way that I could just put everything on the main channel. And this morning some things happened that I wanted to talk about, but I already have a video up on the main channel, and by the time I would put this on the main channel, it would kind of be pointless. So hit subscribe to the secondary channel if you haven't yet. But we have some Nintendo Switch 2 direct updates, Treehouse stuff, even like leaks about the Switch 2 itself leading into tomorrow's event. So I wanted to go over this stuff with you guys, but yeah, we're just doing it on the second channel. So the first thing I want to talk about is a headphone jack has been discovered on the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. Now, if you're used to other systems, like no big deal. You know, usually these other systems, they have headphone jacks on their controllers so that you can plug in and talk to other people. But for the Switch 2 Pro controller, this is kind of an interesting step for Nintendo, I feel, because of the fact that, well, we needed a cell phone. And this was something that I talked about in today's video on the main channel, yesterday's video on the main channel. Like, I don't want to use a cell phone application. If I want to be able to talk to people, I should be able to talk to people. Parents can parent their children, turn off things like voice chat, and adults who play on Nintendo platforms can enjoy the voice chat features. So it does seem like voice chat is going to be a lot more integrated on this system because of the fact that on the Pro controller, there is indeed a headphone jack. Now, we'll probably get confirmation on that tomorrow, but that leads me to be very hopeful for the future of this system when it comes to things like online features. I'm not asking for like the most robust thing in the world. I don't need the most robust thing in the world, but basic lines of communication without having to use an external force or having to use Discord or something like that, I don't think that's asking too much. And maybe Nintendo has realized, you know, people aren't really asking all that much trying to do something like that. Basic communication should be something that we applaud. So that's kind of the latest leak on the side of leaks and stuff like that with the Switch 2. But we actually got some information directly, God, that was a bad joke, from Nintendo themselves about the Nintendo Direct and subsequent events that are happening after this. So the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct tomorrow is an hour long. And at least an hour long, I should say. 60 minutes or so. Like, bro, that's a long ass time. Like, okay, so what do? 15 minutes on the hardware itself and then 45 minutes of games? Like this whole narrative of, you know, third party companies, oh, they don't have, you know, dev kits and stuff like that. Like Nintendo's not going to do 45 minutes of just their own games. Like it's such a weird thing that like caught up a lot of steam online. But this presentation is going to be an hour or so long. Obviously, they're going to be looking at the hardware, the software, probably the operating system, and showing off differences between what we have now and what this system is going to be. I don't think they're going to talk about like major performance upgrades in terms of things like specs, but they might show you. And honestly, I would rather prefer that. I don't care about specifications of a system, really. Like, you could have the most powerful system in the world, but if the games suck on it, like, who cares? You know, like does it really matter? Like, to me, it doesn't. Usually the weakest system tends to win console generations when console generations were a more traditional thing. But I'm more so of how you're going to use the power that you have and utilize it in a manner to make it efficient on the system and make games look and run great. That's what's most important to me. And then after this, you get not 1 but 2 days of Nintendo Treehouse events where they're on the 3rd and 4th, they're going to be going over some of the games that were showcased during this direct, giving a more in-depth look at them as well. It's going to be a big live stream presentation that you can watch online. Like, bro, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There is like, this just makes my anticipation even higher because they didn't do this last time. And yes, they've done things like this around, E3, back when E3 was a thing where they would do their showcase and then they would have Treehouse events for this. But for the launch of a new system, they've never done this before. This is obviously something very big. And I think when you look at the software that we've gotten for the Switch over the last, like pretty much ever since Tears of the Kingdom came out, like the software has been a bit soft. No pun intended. But, it hasn't been big AAA, style stuff. It hasn't been this big budget stuff. It's been smaller projects, offshoot projects, remakes, remasters, reimaginings, and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, hell, I am 55 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition right now. So I'm definitely not complaining about that. But I feel like they've been holding back for this event. And I think it's going to be something legendary, bro. Like, I don't even know really like what all to expect tomorrow. The main thing for me is pacing. You got to keep this pacing really, really good. I would rather see a bunch of games in a short period of time than a few games for a long period of time. And obviously, something like a 3D Mario, which I think we all sort of anticipate is going to be there. Like, yeah, 10 minutes on that, 15 minutes on that, sure. That kind of makes sense to me. But with having like the Treehouse alongside of this as well, that's going to alleviate some of the stress of having to show every single thing about the games within there. Of course, there's going to be some downspeak from Nintendo where they over-explain things for this as well, such as like transferring stuff and online stuff and how Switch 1 games are going to work and probably reiterating the virtual card situation. But man, oh man, I'm really looking forward to this, man. And like just the fact that like there's going to be subsequent Treehouse presentations afterwards. And then you also have to factor in once the system is announced and showcased like tomorrow, then third parties can start being like, yeah, our game is coming to this. We're bringing a port of this. We're doing this, that, or the other. It's about to get very crazy. It's about to get very crazy. And I'm honestly really looking forward to it, man. I'm very excited for this system. I'm very excited for the impact the system is going to have. If you happen to miss today's video over on the main channel, I did upload it at 9 a.m. because 24 hours before the presentation. Make sure you guys go check that out as well. I go more in depth of what I expect to be here, what I want to see, and kind of my mindset really going into this Nintendo Direct presentation because, I mean, this is a new era. This is a new era, and I think it's not only important just for Nintendo, but for video games as a whole. So what do you expect to see during this hour-long presentation? Do you think they're going to focus on games? Is it going to be mostly, hardware-related things? Like, I feel like the system already sells itself. You just kind of got to talk about the differences. And, of course, headphone jack. Do you think that that is a positive sign for voice chat on Nintendo Switch 2 games being baked into the games themselves and the operating system instead of being on a case-by-case basis? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the secondary channel, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be more crap on here coming up. I'm sure of it. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.